name is Gary, and I'm 33 years old. I currently live and work in Belgrade in Serbia. As you know, I'm a psychologist. What actually got me interested in psychology was some of my early childhood experiences, where I noticed that I really enjoyed hanging out or being in a company of friends who were a bit introverted in a way, who like to talk about their emotions and some issues which they had. So that's probably what nudged me toward the profession that I chose. We will start by thinking about your own goals and ideas. Your ideas of good parenting probably date back from your own childhood, when you were subjected to your parents' ideas of good parenting and their values. I think that by recognizing that your child is actually a person on its own, you're going to make this relationship two-way, not only one way. At the beginning, this relationship, it's not symmetrical, because the parent has basically a lot more power and a lot more responsibility towards the child. But as the time goes on, this relationship comes to an even ground. If your child is already through the period of puberty or early adolescence, he or she is actually starting to question the values which you were trying to instill in him so far. I think that psychologists are really accentuating the importance of love in the whole process of the development of a personality, but it's really, really necessary ingredient, especially in early childhood. The feeling of love and warmth, which goes with the expression of love from a parent's side, give the child necessary feeling of security, from which the child can go out and explore the world around. It will always be some kind of safe zone to which the child can return to. So in the words of advice, never be afraid to show more love than you are showing already. So you will not make the child vulnerable to future, harshness of the world that we are living in. It's really important to not neglect showing love. And here we have four distinct parenting styles, which are recognized by psychologists. So on the horizontal axis, we have this dimension of demandingness, which is basically what controlling of frustration is. And on the vertical axis, we have the dimension of responsiveness, of warmth, or love and empathy. The style which parent might employ towards his child, which is characterized by high responsiveness and high demandingness at the same time, might be called authoritative style. When the parent is showing a high amount of strictness and demandingness from a child, but at the same time is not showing much warmth and empathy toward the child, this style might be called authoritarian. The self-care is the moment where we apply a lot of different strategies, different techniques of caring for ourselves in order to make ourselves balanced psychologically and in order to help the other person. And you might know this proverb: in order to help the other person, you need to help yourself. You don't need to do one thing first and then do the other thing, but you can do both things simultaneously.
One question is from Natalie. How do I keep my child from doing more serious issues like smoking or drinking or drugs? I've got a child who's not listening to us.
As I mentioned maybe at one point, how important it is to be a role model to your child and to behave in accordance to your own values and beliefs. If your child doesn't have the opportunity to see you doing these kinds of things, you're already on a pretty good way to, I don't want to say protect him, but to show him what's good. It's also really necessary to keep this line of communication with your child open and to show that you follow what's basically interesting for your child in all kinds of points of his development. If you expect your child to come into contact with his peers who might be using some kind of I don't want to say some kind of substances or something that you wouldn't like your child to get into touch with, it's really important to talk with your child about it and to just not only make him scared of it, but give him enough information to what are possible outcomes of these things which might be abused, and to always show responsiveness towards your child's inquiries and interests. So that will be my answer to the question.